I remember in my 20s when I experienced pure awareness, and I just, everything in me just felt, I'm pure awareness. I didn't even think the thought awareness. It was just like an awake nothingness. And, it's lovely. It was profound and liberating. And yet it wasn't very long before I started to feel like, now wait a minute. If I'm this pure awake nothingness, which I couldn't deny, it was more obvious than anything else I'd ever experienced, that's for sure, in orders of magnitude that are indescribable. And yet I thought, well, what's all this stuff? What's all this form? What's this? What's the true nature of this? And so that sort of started to occupy my inquiry. Intuitively, after a while, I felt there's more to the picture. I'd kind of gone from one side of duality to the other. Before, I thought of myself as this body and this mind and this humanity and this particular personality and all that. And then, boom, like in the snap of a finger, when it finally occurred, that is, all of a sudden I felt myself to be absolute nothingness. Awake, alive, vital, nothingness. I'd gone basically from one duality to another. And that's why I think the intuition that later came up, which is this isn't complete. This is very liberating, very freeing. And yet, I knew there was more. I knew there had to be more to the picture. And that was the wisdom of my true nature kind of coming up and saying, hey, yeah. The deeper reality ended up to be far more paradoxical than any of that, which is to be nothing and everything, and nobody and somebody, all of it happening at the same time. And to me, that's what I mean when I talk about the deepest experience of unity. Yes, we can feel like, everything's God and I'm no longer a human being. That's a unity experience. Or I'm Buddha nature and I'm not this human being. That's a unity experience. But a deeper unity experience, I would suggest a more mature unity experience, is that I'm everything and this one thing. I'm unlimited and I'm limited, perfect and imperfect. And in that, there's nowhere for the mind to really get a hold of, right? Because our mind holds on to the dualistic points of view. Again, it's not that dualistic points of view have no part to play in life. They can actually be quite useful. But we shouldn't mistake usefulness for ultimately real. The tricky thing about any real kind of realization experience is that each of them always feel like they're the whole thing. So if you think about the jewel of enlightenment, as I like to call it, it has all these, like a cut diamond that has different facets. And we entered the jewel through some facet. And each of those facets, because it's a facet of the entire jewel, each of the facets experientially feels totally complete, even though it might just be a facet. And so that's one of the things I learned along the way, that even each realization has within it its own potential delusion. That anytime we really touch upon the face of ultimate reality, one of the strong potential delusions that come with that is that we will conclude that particular facet of the absolute is the whole of the absolute, because it feels that way. In fact, everything in you feels that way. And in one sense, it is total because, you touch upon the diamond, you touch upon the diamond. And yet, if we're experiencing a facet of the jewel, it's also just a facet. So again, we run into the paradox. Complete and yet a facet. Both are true. A human being, all being, absolutely nothing, also something, no one, and yet someone. Unlimited, and yet humanly limited. And our mind likes to go, well, which side? Which one? So my understanding, experientially, is that it's not one. It's all of that. For all of us. And it's that way right now. And yes, we can all experience ourselves as a particular human body. You have your life history, you have your country of origin, you have your ethnic identity, all that. And all that's, in a certain sense, real, valid. And we're also much more than that. So in that sense, we're different, and also, in a deeper sense, we can touch in on the level of the deepest true nature, the same.